Hey everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, 2024 Trends in Legal Marketing. My name is Riley McLaughlin, and I'm the Content Manager here at Main Street ROI. And I'm joined by four incredible presenters from four top legal marketing agencies who each have a presentation for you here today. This webinar is going to be about an hour and a half. And if you have any questions at any time, please put those into the chat. Since we have four presenters, we're not going to hold those to the end. So I'm going to be watching the questions, and as questions come in, I'm just going to interrupt whoever's presenting and ask that question. Tomorrow morning, you can expect in your email a link to the recording for this webinar. So this webinar is being recorded, along with a PDF copy of the slides. And I know we have a lot to cover today, so with that, I'm going to pass it off to our first presenter, Erin from The Modern Firm.
Riley, thank you so much for having us today. I'm the lucky person to present first on 2024 marketing trends for lawyers and law firms. So we do have a lot to cover. I'm going to jump right in with a bang and talk about the first trend. And this is a focus on law firm branding. Gone are the days of slapping together a black and white text-based logo and calling it a day. Discovering, developing, and implementing a truly unique brand is going to set you apart from other firms. It's going to be the foundation to your marketing strategy. One thing top companies and successful businesses have in common is an identifiable brand that provides a memorable experience for its customers and its clients. Let's think Starbucks, Target. To stand out in the market, you have to be clear about your brand by having consistent visual branding and messaging that highlights your unique abilities as a lawyer or law firm. And this must be done in a way that resonates with your potential clients. We have always focused on branding during our website development process, and this is because we've learned it's the best way to set our clients up for success. We believe it's something that lawyers and law firms need to stand out in a competitive landscape. And in 2024, the brand is going to remain a top focus to set law firms up for success in their online and their offline marketing efforts. Your branding should reinforce your core values and key differentiators. There should be a theme that can be carried throughout your law firm marketing materials. And the unique personality and approach that you have as an attorney for your legal services should be clear. Moving into the next trend, I want to touch base and let everyone know that the interest and the investment in marketing for law firms has been growing exponentially. I'm sure my colleagues on this call or on this webinar can attest to having more inquiries from their clients about SEO or Google Ads or what else can I be doing to generate more business. And that brings me to legal trend number 2, expanding your marketing mix. So in the past, many law firms could get away with focusing on 1 or 2 channels for their marketing efforts. However, the landscape each day becomes more complex and more competitive. The shift to an omni-channel marketing approach is no longer something law firms should think about. It is something that they need to be doing to grow their practice. If you are currently only doing SEO or you're currently only doing Google Ads, you need to meet with your marketing team to discuss the integrated approach that's best for you. This could be layering in social media marketing, email marketing, but even offline marketing efforts. And the reason this is so important is that your true audience is made up of people in stages at different stages throughout their client journey. And each marketing channel helps in its own unique way that client along their journey to lead them to retain your firm. So again, if you have already started with some online marketing efforts, maybe very SEO based, you may want to think about layering in local services ads or Google ads. Or say that you've really dominated the online market, it may be time to start thinking again about your offline marketing options. We have clients that are successful with, direct mail or local commercials. Clients with big personalities typically do well with billboard marketing. So to round out the second legal trend here on expanding your marketing efforts, I don't want you to be afraid to do this. And I do want you to think about the first trend we talked about, and that is your branding. If you have strong and consistent branding and you're pursuing some sort of marketing, layering in other types of marketing channels is going to be easy and effective to grow your law firm. So now this is where things may get a little controversial when we start to talk about AI for marketing. In the world of AI, and especially the exponential growth in AI created content, I want to make it a clear statement that human focused content is required to be successful. When we talk about content, this could be in the form of website copy, blog publications, social media posts, email newsletters, podcasts, or videos. You want any and all form of communication to focus on the needs of the end user. Build trust with your audience, reinforce your brand, and last but most certainly not least, it must be accurate. Humans prefer human written and human focused content over AI generated content. A recent study from Neil Patel Digital concluded that real humans selected human written content 90% of the time over AI content. The reason for this is that it's truly more engaging. It builds deep connections and it's more effective in communicating your expertise as an attorney or law firm. And specifically why lawyers should make this a priority in 2024 is that AI content has far too many inaccuracies. Attorneys have to abide by legal ethics and bar rules. You cannot call yourself a specialist. You should not be using the word expert in your marketing materials, especially your blog posts and website content. There are differences in the law from state to state, and AI really doesn't understand that because there's so much cluttered content on the web that's already in itself inaccurate or unclear that it's pulling from. So when we're making this a priority, for law firms, it's building a connection with your firm and the online user. It's establishing trust, reinforcing EEAT, if you've ever heard of that term when it comes to marketing. That's experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And when you're producing human-focused content, you can ensure that you have consistent brand messaging and visual branding throughout that content. So the future of AI and how we feel is that it is bright. So these tools can enable people in creative roles like writers, like designers, to be more creative and human focused because AI can save time, help them explore concepts, and reduce some of the mundane things in their role. But after listening to a number of people speak about AI, we've learned it's important to be cautiously optimistic about what it brings to the table. At our agency, we have attorney writers that are trained to draft human-focused content, and they're conscious about the jurisdictional differences and ethics guidelines, but they may be utilizing AI to help them brainstorm or come up with topics or structured ideas. It's just at a very minimal use at this point. In the future, that may change, but right now, for 2024, I want attorneys and law firms to focus on human-focused content and make sure that they have accurate content on their website and that it reinforces their brand. Leading into the last legal trend I'm presenting on today, I want to talk about how clients and referral sources are extremely likely to recommend you to friends and family. To reinforce the importance of putting humans first, it's only natural to discuss nurturing relationships to generate new business for your law firm. As businesses, we know that word of mouth marketing is the best way to get new business. Unfortunately, I think that this is an area that often gets overlooked by marketing professionals. Maybe, we can't attribute it directly to an ROI, and that might be why. But when the world and our industry is saturated with shiny new things and 3 billion data points, it's hard not to get distracted. In 2024, I want you as attorneys to tap into your network. That's your clients, attorney referral sources, and professional referral sources, since they are extremely likely to recommend your law firm to others faced with the exact legal problems you can help them with. To encourage them to be continued advocates of your firm and services, you need to remain top of mind. This is accomplished by sending personal emails and educational newsletters, but this can also be as simple as sending a holiday card or gifting goodies at the end of their case, since those personal experiences can leave a lasting impression and a feel-good sensation. I just want to quickly tell a story about one of our senior content writers. Her estate planning attorney sent them a cake at the end of their transaction together. And to this day, it's been a couple years since she had the estate plan done. She still talks about getting this cake from her estate planning attorney, and it left that much of an impression. So it could be anything that makes you feel like you're giving your clients a personal experience, whether that's gifting goodies or providing them with educational email newsletters after your original transaction has ended. Those are going to be ways to nurture your referral network. So that is a wrap on my presentation for legal marketing trends in 2024. A little bit about the Modern Firm. We have been working with solo attorneys and small law firms for over 20 years. We do help with branding, website design, online marketing, and our approach is very focused on building long-lasting relationships with our clients. We meet our clients where they're at, and we provide them with services and solutions that are right for them. So if you would like to get in contact with me after this presentation, you can send me an email, erin@themodernfirm.com, or please feel free to explore our website. You can check out our real MVPs. That's usually where everybody falls in love with us. And we do have a contact form on our website that will allow you to schedule an introductory call with us when you're ready. Riley, before I pass this presentation over, are there any questions that came through during the presentation?
I'm not seeing any questions right now, but it looks like a few more people have joined. So yeah, just to reiterate, we are taking live questions. So if you do have a question, please put that in the chat, and I'll ask our presenter.
Okay, so then I am going to pass this off to Jeff.
Great, Aaron,
Actually,
thanks. Can
real
everybody
quick.
see my screen?
Yes, I can see it, Jeff. Real quick, we just got a question from Tim, who wants to know where the firms are based.
Sure. The Modern Firm is based in Ann Arbor, Michigan. However, we serve clients from coast to coast throughout the U.S.
This is Jeff. We're based in Tucson, Arizona, and we also serve firms nationally.
And Doug or Tanner?
Yes, hi, good morning. This is Doug Bradley at Everest Legal Marketing. We're in Southern California and also serve clients throughout the U.S.
And thanks for the question. This is Tanner with ConsultWebs. We are headquartered in North Carolina, but much like my friends here, we serve law firms across the country.
Perfect. All right, take it away, Jeff.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for all of you listening into the webinar today. I'm going to talk about 2024 trends and some of the cool things that law firms are doing. But before I get into that, what I really would like to talk a little bit about is planning, metrics, and ROI, and the things that you can be doing, whether you're an in-house marketer or whether you are an outside marketing agency, to help whatever law firms you're serving succeed and generate revenue. So the very first thing that you want to do is develop a solid marketing plan. And so I wanted to spend just a couple minutes to talk about these specific elements for a solid marketing plan and what you can be doing and what you should be thinking about. So first, when you're putting together a marketing plan, I want you to think about what the objectives of the plan are, what you want to accomplish, and to be specific. And what I mean by being specific is not to say that we want to double our revenue next, in the next year, but things like we want to maybe double our organic leads or our organic traffic, or maybe we have some other metrics for Google Ads and what we want to accomplish by that. Second, think about the marketing activities to be undertaken. This is the things that can be grouped in your plan. Aaron did a good job mentioning a lot of different types of new things and getting away from the omnichannel type of mentality that sort of existed with a lot of firms in the past. And the other marketers are also going to be talking about some other cool and really helpful things that you can do as part of your plan. Once you have these different activities that can be done, the next step then is to put those into your plan and figure out exactly what's going to be done. Now, when you put these different activities into your plan, you really need to be thinking about an associated marketing spend. And what I mean by that, as an example, you may have a plan to double your organic Google traffic over the course of the new year compared to last year. But you need to think about what kind of marketing spend is going to need to be associated with that and what's going to need to be done in order to make that goal. And one of the important things to remember is that if you put in things that you're going to be doing and you don't really put in a marketing spend, those things probably are unlikely to happen. So next, I'm going to talk quite a bit of this presentation, my part of the presentation, about metrics that you want to measure for each activity. Talking about people accountability, it's really important when you're developing your plan that you want to have a person's name associated with everything that needs to be done, and also a deadline if there are specific things that need to be done. And then lastly, your plan really needs, to have an ROI measurement. And what I want you to think about is your plan should just not be like you do it in January and then you forget it. You want to be consistently going back to your plan, measuring different components of your plan with an ROI, and then thinking about reallocating your marketing spend throughout the year. So it's not just a one and done thing. You might figure out by like May that a particular one activity isn't working really well, and another activity is working really, really well. And so you may want to think about adjusting your plan and putting money from the low ROI activity into the high ROI activity. So in most cases, ineffective marketing really is the result of failing to follow the basics. And what I mean by that is people come up with a lot of ideas, but then once they have the ideas, there's not really a good measurable follow through or even a plan to get a follow through. So a lot of law firms simply don't even have a plan in the first place. A lot of firms do marketing, excuse me, particularly on an ad hoc spending. Stuff just comes up and they decide to spend money, but there's not really a rhyme or reason or an expectation or an ROI. You want to really focus on the metrics that are behind the ROI and measure those to the extent that you can. Not everything is necessarily going to be easy to measure with an ROI, but certainly you'll be able to know whether your marketing or your new client intakes are going up or not going up after a specific type of marketing endeavor. Again, you want to have a people accountability for these things. And we want to really get our clients, the attorneys and law firms and everything, to really get moving from just what I call status updates, which is like, this is what we did for this marketing thing, or maybe we did Google Ads or something, into more of a concrete plan. And in order to do that, the first step really is to get attorneys engaged in the process. Irrespective of whether you are an in-house law firm marketer or whether you're an external consultant, you serve law firms, you really want to sit down with attorneys and try to come up with a concrete plan, get them engaged and get them to understand what you're suggesting and why you're suggesting it. So let's talk about setting a marketing budget. This is really, really important to make sure that you're going to have a solid plan and going to be able to increase your revenue. And a couple statistics, about 46% of law firms and only about 14% of solo practitioners report even having a marketing budget. And that's really important to get a budget, because again, if you have a commitment to doing objectives, such as increasing revenue, you really need to think about what you're going to be doing or what you need to get done and what it's going to cost to get there. Otherwise, it's like driving to some unknown destination and just driving around and hoping you get to where you want to be without actually having a map in terms of how to get there. A lot of times we get asked questions about what the typical marketing spend is for law firms. And the literature that we've seen indicates that law firms typically spend about 3 to 8% of gross revenue on marketing. So if your firm then is, gets $1 million in revenue, if you kind of want to be in the average spend, that's probably going to be somewhere between $30,000 and $80,000 a year in marketing expenses. There's two types of things that we can talk about in terms of how to get to your marketing budget. The first is revenue-based budgeting, and that's the one that I just mentioned. So the way that works is you figure out what 3 to 8% of your budget is, and then you create a plan based upon getting the most bang for the buck for that specific spend. So in the case I just mentioned, if you're going to go for 5%, you have a firm revenue of $1 million, that's a $50,000 budget. And that's where you take that amount of money and figure out, how that should be allocated in between things like SEO, Google Ads, video, a whole lot of different options that law firms really have to choose from today. The second way to determine your law firm budget is what I call objective-based budgeting. And objective-based budgeting is done by defining the objectives first and then determining how much money is going to be required, and then to hit the objectives, and then to come up with a specific plan for achieving those objectives. So here's an example of that. If your firm really wants to increase its rankings on Google, and maybe you're sort of getting on the 3rd or 4th page of Google, and you say, we really need to get up to page 1, the next thing that you would do is to come up with an SEO plan. That might be something, if you're an internal marketer, you might be able to come up with the SEO and say, this is what we need to do. This is all the content creation and other things that need to be done. Or you can look to an outside consultant and ask the outside consultant, okay, this is where we're ranking. How do we get to be #1 for these different terms? And ask them to put together a plan. Once you know what the plan is, they should be able to tell you, roughly about what it's going to cost to be able to achieve your objectives. Marketing, again, it should be thought of as an ongoing thing. It's not set it and forget it. What I mean by this, again, is when you have your plan, if you look at the upper right-hand arrow, you want to implement the plan, you want to get analytics and metrics back from your plan, you want to look at the ROI, and then you want to make revisions to your plan. And this is something that really should be doing, going on somewhat of an ongoing basis. Maybe you want to take a look at it on a quarterly basis or whatever type of basis feels right for you. But don't just do it in January and then wait till the end of the year and then say, did we hit our goals or not? Your website really is your foundation, and this is something that's really important to think about. Whether you are an in-house marketing person or an external consultant that serves law firm clients, the core really is going to be developing a great website first. Use your judgment. You can look at other websites and everything and think about, does our firm's website really convey the expertise and the experience in a way that's going to be meaningful and resonate positively with prospective clients? So here's kind of a story that we often get is sometimes we get called by law firms and they understand or they learn about SEO or the importance of SEO. They hear maybe about Google Ads or some other type of advertising opportunity or marketing opportunity. And sometimes they go, let's just, what do we need to spend to get the high rankings? And sometimes if they don't already have a good website first, what we suggest to them is, look, before you go and start spending on money on SEO or Google Ads, let's fix your website. Let's make sure your website looks really good and is going to really positively resonate. If you don't take the time to do that, if your website doesn't look that good, what you're going to end up doing is spending a lot of wasted money on SEO or Google Ads, and you're going to just increase the number of people that come to your website that are just going to bounce, or in other words, just leave your website without contacting the firm. So a couple things what not to do. Try not to fall for the bright shiny objects or the lowest cost provider. I know pretty much all of us are bombarded on a daily basis with people planning to know like the magic secrets and things like that. There's definitely a lot of good things to be doing marketing and a lot of good opportunities, but just beware, nobody out there really has necessarily the magic secret. So try to stay away from those type of offers. And here's a suggestion for you in terms of how you can evaluate a marketing pitch or an opportunity. As an example, some of our clients send to us emails they get from other marketing companies, and they want to do something that may be a $299 month expenditure. It could be SEO, it could be a directory listing or something like that. The framework that we approach these things from is an ROI consideration-based framework. And what I mean by that is for something that's $300 a month, that's going to be like $3,600 a year. And so we look at that and we say, maybe our client's done Google Ads and they're getting a click for $10 a click on Google. So at $3,600 a year, that equates to about 360 clicks a year or about 30 clicks a month. So the framework that we approach a pitch or an opportunity is this opportunity likely to be at least as good as, or if not better than getting 30 clicks from Google from prospective clients? If it is, then maybe the opportunity should be considered. If we think, no, this is only going to be likely to get maybe 3 clicks from, say, a directory listing company, then typically the answer is, no, this isn't going to be as good, so let's not do it. So leveraging the power of evergreen FAQs, this content, this is one of my favorite things because it's got a huge ROI. So let's say your firm is an estate planning firm. people are going to come from Google to your firm's website in one of two ways, typically. They're going to do a direct search for estate planning lawyer, or they may know that they think that they need an estate plan, but they're going to do a related search to try to determine whether they need an estate plan in the first place. So as an example, a person might go into Google and type in a question like, what happens if I die in Arizona without a will? So they're not really sure whether they need an estate plan or not, but this is a type of thing that prospective clients of your firm are likely searching for. And if you write a really, really good FAQ post about this, you can get a ton of traffic to your website. And what I mean by evergreen FAQs, these are the types of questions that people ask like year after year after year. Again, what happens if I die in Arizona without a will? We've done FAQ posts, and they need to be written really well, especially for SEO purposes. But we've done SEO or FAQ posts where a single post can get 5,000 visits or more over the course of 3 years. This is a little bit, at the upper end of typically performance, but it's not unusual to write an FAQ post and still get, maybe a couple hundred people a year off of Google. And the ROI involved in this, if you think about it, if we get 5,000 visits, and let's say only 5 of those people actually convert and become clients, that's a really, really high ROI for the cost of spending about 3 hours or so to write the post. And again, these blog posts must be really great. They need to be done to get really high rankings on Google in order to make it happen. Using Google reviews is a competitive advantage. About 90% of people going online look at Google or look at reviews before they buy something significant, and like a TV or hiring a lawyer. And recent research has indicated that about half of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations from friends or family. So Google reviews in particular Google really is the best place to get reviews just because of how much Google reviews are seen. Ideally, what you would like to do is get a lot of good reviews so that your firm shows up in the Google Maps section. This is probably all of you've seen this on the first page of Google. A couple things to note here: you don't have to get the most reviews in order to appear here, but what you really should be doing is continuing to try to develop reviews on an ongoing basis. So in other words, if you got 50 reviews on Google like 4 years ago, that positive effect is going to slowly kind of deteriorate over time. Google wants to see that businesses are getting reviews on a sort of an ongoing basis in order to put them in this Maps box. So you want to make sure you ask for reviews. A couple of quick things that you can do. You can use an automated system. We have firm reviews. If you come to our website, you can learn about firm reviews and how you can do that to have an automated basis for getting reviews from clients. Or you can simply send out emails to clients with a link to your Google review page. So this can definitely be done. We suggest at the end of the conclusion of a positive client matter. That's the best time that's the time when clients are loving you. And go ahead and ask them to give you a review. Just be sure to caution for them that their review should really be about the quality of services that you provided, and not just like inadvertently disclosing that confidential settlement amount that could definitely be problematic. Use analytics to measure performance and refine the marketing plan. Again, one of the things that we've done is create FirmMetrics. FirmMetrics is an all-in-one, fully customized report that handles things including Google Analytics 4, GA4 metrics, getting keyword rankings. If you're a website that serves personal injury clients in Chicago, you're not going to want to go on every month and put in 50 or 100 different search terms to find out where you're ranking on Google. FirmMetrics automates the process for Google rankings. Social media metrics. And then the other thing that I really like is metrics for Google ads in particular, and also social media ads. So Firmetrics combines all of these different things that otherwise you would have to go to different reports and try to figure out into one report, and it shows month over month changes. So lastly, this is a really important thing to remember. I know that all of you get it, but a lot of times it's important to focus these things on the attorneys that you work for or the law firms that you work for. And that's this: your marketing spend really needs to be thought of as an investment, not an expense. And a lot of the lawyers come more sort of an expense-minded mentality where it's like, if you talk to them about spending $10,000 a year in marketing, their kind of thought is, well, immediate thought is, well, I'm probably all that money is just going to be gone. I'm never going to see it again. Or maybe in a good situation, maybe I get, half of it, or maybe I don't get all of it back. Your marketing really needs to be an investment, and your clients need to understand that. The typical ROI from what we found for law firm marketing really should be about $4 to $8 in revenue for every dollar that you spend. This amount can be significantly higher for SEO and FAQ content, because that content typically is going to generate returns over the course of a number of years, unlike something like Google Ads, where you pay to get a click and that click either becomes a client or they don't become a client. So my sort of mantra in this is repeat after me. If I spend $10,000 in marketing, I should expect to get at least $40,000 in revenue. Ideally, for those of you in-house, as well as those of you who are external marketing agencies, this is the type of conversation that you really want to get first and foremost in front of your clients and really get them to understand this concept. So any questions or anything later on, please feel free to reach out to me. Our website's Esquire Interactive. Happy to talk to any of you, give you a free consult, ask any or answer any questions that you might have. So thanks. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Doug now.
Thanks, Jeff. Let's see. Let me pass it over to Doug. And again, if you have any questions or would like clarification on anything, then please put your question into the chat and we'll get that answered for you.
All right. Am I showing my screen right now, or?
Not yet.
Okay, let me see here.
Yeah, we can say now, Doug.
Oh, great. Awesome, awesome. Before I get started, I wanted to thank again Main Street ROI for the opportunity to participate in this webinar, and really also all of the other co-presenters from some really incredible marketing firms. When I was asked to participate in this webinar, one of the things that I was thinking of, what is it that I'm seeing more of happen in the marketplace for law firms? And I've been seeing a lot more short form videos pop up, and I really started to get curious about some of the stats that support why short form videos are popping up more and more. And one of the really interesting stats that I came across was that the human attention span has shrunk to about 8 seconds. So that means by the time I finish this sentence, you probably already started to tune me out. But that's really led to a rise in the short form video content. And as an SEO company, I have a bias to think that written content is some of the best that can be made. But we're starting to see more and more as marketers that short form video is really, really engaging. In short form video, just to put some data on it, it's really, really short. So 5 seconds to maybe a minute and a half. And it's just been exploding in popularity. Typically, these are concepts that can easily be communicated with just a broad brush stroke of a content really, really quickly. And really what you're trying to do is hopefully get that person on the other end of the screen into some of your other digital content. When we talk about short form video with some of our clients, this is often what they're thinking. And that might be it. But the reality of it is that even though these types of dancing videos are taking over platforms like TikTok, I'm starting to see a lot more lawyers provide short pieces of information about their practice and what they're doing and what might be interesting in the world of law. Of all the social media platforms out there, most of us, when we think of short videos, are thinking of TikTok. But YouTube Shorts is also a humongous player in this space. It still might surprise you to know that Facebook, as a social media platform, is still the behemoth. It commands most of the daily eyeballs, over 3 billion daily active users. But for the purposes of this presentation, I really stuck with the video forward or the video first platforms. The one that comes to mind and that has the most growth in terms of usage is TikTok. Most clients, I can't speak for other marketers here, but most clients, when I mention TikTok to a client, they have an allergic reaction, just mainly because they have a perception of what goes on TikTok. But the usage stats are just through the roof. Over the last 5 years, it's just grown exponentially. In 2018, they had about 100,000 daily users, and now they're up to about a 1.5 to 1.6 million users a day. TikTok users tend to skew younger in age, which is no surprise. It appeals mostly to Gen Z and millennials. TikTok roughly has a 50-50 distribution of men and women using the platform equally. But here's kind of a breathtaking stat, is that TikTok absolutely commands the most time of really any other platform today. Some of the popular TikTok lawyers that I've come across, and maybe some of these are attorneys that you've seen as well. Hugo Lord, he's popped up kind of everywhere. Nearly 7 million followers, comments on legal issues and at-fault scenarios, tons of videos online. Law by Mike is another channel, has nearly 8 million followers, discusses legal matters with a sense of humor. Again, tons of videos in his inventory. Erica Kohlberg has over 9 million followers, talks a lot about company policies and legal pitfalls of company policies, and also legal tools and just commentary on what's happening either in the news or popular topics at hand. When we talk about YouTube, YouTube is really a platform that's just ubiquitous because it's familiar to everybody at this point. Has heavy usage across pretty much every age range. Everybody I know in all age ranges is all familiar with YouTube, but again, heavy emphasis on Gen Z and millennials. YouTube Shorts is really the category of video that we're talking about for the short form video. The usage of YouTube Shorts has just absolutely exploded during the pandemic when everybody was glued to their phone. These videos are limited to about 60 seconds in length, whereas TikTok they allow, I believe it's 60 seconds if you're using it in the app, or even up to 10 minutes if you upload it through the website. But recently, Google stated that about 2 billion people globally watch YouTube Shorts every month. So if this is something that you thought only appeals to young people, or it's a very small market, it's not. It's humongous. Some of the lawyers that I see have come across and gaining popularity is in specifically YouTube is Lawyer You Know, has over 300,000 subscribers, focuses on legal reactions to news. Robert, I'm gonna probably butcher his name, Gouveia, as of today has about 330,000 subscribers. And I created this slide a few weeks ago. He's grown about 25,000 subscribers just in the last few weeks. Legal Eagle, this is a really popular channel. Probably have seen some of these. He has over 3 million subscribers. His channel focuses on lawsuit comments and kind of the legalities of pop culture, what's going on in the news and what's going on immediately. So when I was considering how is this useful information to an attorney, I was thinking of how you would actually might implement this. And of course, you'd put together a plan about what kind of contents or content that you'd be creating. But many of my clients tell me that they would probably be okay shooting the video and then sending it to someone, but they really have absolutely zero time to create the ideas, maybe a rough script, to edit them or to post them. So really, if this is something that you're going to embark on as a marketing strategy, it's something that you're going to have to be prepared for in terms of time commitment. Some of the best strategies that I've seen involve shooting a long video in kind of a one-take format, and then having an editor cut it for you into smaller segments that you can post individually. Another strategy is on-the-fly creation and posting, which you can do typically through the app itself. But what I really, really want to ring true, if you take nothing else from what I'm saying here, is that you cannot outsource authenticity. Most law firms, you are the brand, or the attorneys are the brand. So I would avoid creating slideshows with music in the background, something that's typically kind of low effort. It's not really a solution, quote unquote, to tackle this type of media. And these videos really just don't get any engagement. So if you're going to commit to this media, you really, really need to be personally involved in the creation of the content yourself. And then mechanically, some of the things that tend to be hurdles is, if I shoot the video, how do I get it edited? And of course, you can hire a professional video editor. That can cost quite a bit of money. The other thing that you can do is look to some of the gig websites, the most popular of which are Fiverr and Upwork. We've used vendors from both of these platforms for some of our projects, some of our clients' projects, and you do definitely get varying degrees of quality. So you've really got to understand that this is a bit of a trial and error effort here. If you're going to use an Upwork or a Fiverr, you really have to be familiar with that editor's work, what they do, how they do it, and what they're producing on a regular basis for their clients, and if that's something you want them to help showcase your firm. So for me, that's really it for me. Again, I wanted to thank you for my time presenting here, and I'll pass the mic over to Tanner Jones of ConsultWebs. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to chime in or reach out to me, Doug at everestlegalmarketing.com. You can visit my website and reach out to me there as well.
Thank you, Doug. Great job. Tons of great information for those of you who may fall in line with that 8-second attention span. It may be a good time to stand up, stretch your legs, get the blood flowing a little bit. My hope today is to be able to cover a wide range of topics. Let's see if I can get the screen share appropriate. If you would confirm, Riley, that everything's coming through okay?
Yes, I can see your screen now.
Excellent. Well, so yeah, the big thing here is to reiterate that there's no singular topic or trend that is going to make or break your practice. The topics that have been covered so far have been phenomenal. Aaron, Jeff, Doug, you all did a great job sharing a lot of really important pieces. Aaron, I'll reiterate one of your points with respect to the human content versus AI here in a moment, but I fully agree with that. Certainly the branding piece, Jeff, hitting on the importance, just formulaically start with objectives first, identify metrics, and then setting appropriate budgets and being intentional with that. And then Doug, obviously short form video, I'm going to hit the other side of that with respect to long form video as well. So I love these topics, and the biggest thing that I would share with attendees or listeners is that it starts with action. You know, it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to really start to test some of these concepts that have been discussed, because that's the first and best way to be able to get some of this rolling and create opportunities for your firms or for those that you're consulting. My name's Tanner Jones. ConsultWebs is the agency that I'm with. I've been with them for 15 years now. ConsultWebs itself has been around since 1999, is one of the longest standing legal focused digital marketing companies out there. And as been said already, I'm honored to be speaking alongside such incredible professionals in this industry. It's no doubt that last year, 2023, was the year of ChatGPT. It seems like everywhere we looked, from presentations, webinars, conference topics, it was all about leveraging AI, specifically ChatGPT, for operations, for management, for marketing, and everything in between. And I think we're going to continue to see a lot of that this year. Candidly, last year it was a lot of more, felt like noise. You know, there not a whole lot of like objective direction on how to leverage it, but now I'm starting to see more and more of this, and that's because the people who were interested in it began to test it, probably didn't find a whole lot of fruit from that effort until they've really gotten fully invested. And that's the biggest challenge, again, that I would encourage each of you, start to test this, start to use this type of technology so that you know more about it. I don't want to be dramatic with this concept of innovate or die, but Thomson Reuters Institute came out with a study that really led to that concept, that for law firms in particular, this type of technology is going to radically change how we do business, how we know business. And those that continue to kind of hold on to the past and what has worked, I believe will start to quickly fall behind. I mean, we can definitely look back and see incredibly powerful, very successful businesses in the past that just simply were not willing to adapt and evolve with the times, and they ultimately ended in bankruptcy. This is a fallacy to law firm owners, to any business owner who sees the changing winds and they're not willing to take action behind it. So that's my encouragement to you. Again, I'm not saying that to create fear, but really to motivate, to encourage you to get involved in this type of technology. We believe firmly that firms should absolutely pay attention to these trends, just like every year in the past. If you're being cognizant of what's happening around you, you can take quicker, swifter action and serve your clients even better, and ultimately increase your revenues from it. Clients today are seeing this technology evolve around them. Most of them are seeing the conveniences that this type of technology creates, and in turn, their expectations begin to increase. They continue to want to be served by the businesses that they're working with, and so it's important for business owners to acknowledge that and continue to leverage the technology to serve clients in a better, more efficient way. Clearly, there are opportunities to save money or to make money, to be efficient in that, and then also creating more opportunities from a marketing standpoint for your firm leveraging this type of technology. So with that being said, I want to focus the next few minutes around 3 core concepts which can be intertwined: AI, artificial intelligence, the importance of marketing, and how to leverage that in your management of your business and your operations. So the first topic really is around increased adoption of artificial intelligence. A lot of us see artificial intelligence as being maybe specific to ChatGPT, but it's important to know that artificial intelligence has been being leveraged for a long time now. In fact, Google has been leveraging AI for a long time, many years, in terms of algorithmically how they rank websites, how they monitor user activity on the web, and how they're clicking into your website versus other competitor sites. That has been artificial intelligence. Now it's essentially released to the public, if you will, through ChatGPT, and it's starting to open our minds up to more and more opportunities with this. What's fascinating to me is that there are absolutely certain industries that are going to be impacted more so than others. And according to this study by Thomson Reuters Institute, it was suggested that 70%, so 7 out of 10 legal professionals and lawyers believe that AI is going to have a transformative impact. on their business. And I think that's probably light. In fact, if everyone fully understood what this technology is, what it's capable of doing, that should be 100% of legal professionals. And again, this is not stated to scare you, because marketers, just like those of us panelists that are talking today, we also see the future as evolving, and the importance of leveraging this type of technology to stay ahead and not get left behind. So what can you do about it? Let's get practical. One thing is to understand the tools, as I've already suggested. If you haven't signed up for ChatGPT, that's certainly one of the first places to start. Get familiarized with it, find out what it is, how to use it, how to enter prompts. We believe that entering prompts in ChatGPT is one of the most important concepts of actually getting good use out of this concept, because it's all about the prompts and how you're essentially feeding it to get the right output. One way we've seen ChatGPT get leveraged very practically within law firms is not just through content creation, which Aaron talked on that a little bit, but really more so through ideation. A lot of law firm clients that we have are all optimistic about creating more video content, but they often get hung up on direction, where to go, what to talk about, the certain subjects, or how long. Well, ChatGPT is incredible for ideation. If you have a gap on your website of video, and maybe your practice is personal injury and a big portion of that is motor vehicle accidents, but you don't have a single MVA piece of content, or video rather, on your website, well, leverage ChatGPT and that type of technology to ideate helpful videos for users related to someone who's just gotten involved in a car accident, for example. And if you don't like that list, ask it to reiterate the list, or adjust the list and cater it more toward an audience between the ages of X and Y. These are just examples, but it shows how you can leverage this technology to streamline processes and ultimately create better outputs. I make mention of Westlaw Edge for legal research, but also Legal Sifter. This is really just scratching the surface. I attended the ABA Tech Show in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, and I was fascinated by how many AI-focused companies there are exclusive to law firms today. It seems like just overnight these companies have been created. I mean, many of which have been running for a couple of years now, but it's almost like in the past when we said there's an app for that. Well, today there's AI for that. And so if you're looking at your business and you see processes that are redundant, if you will, or things that are being repeated within your office on a weekly basis, clearly there's an opportunity to leverage AI and technology to streamline some of those processes. Any time saving or money saving, I would encourage you to allocate it back toward the client. How can we better serve the client through any time savings or money savings that we're seeing with this technology? That's how you can continue to build a culture within your organization of embracing technology, but turning the benefits back to the clients. And I can promise you, you will see improvements in revenue and case generation. Another piece to this is familiarize yourself with the rules and regulations. At the ABA Tech Show, I actually spoke about deepfake technology, which is a form of artificial intelligence. And this is just fascinating technology and what's available today to the general public. It's actually very scary, just as it is exciting. But from that research and preparing for that presentation, I'm finding that the legal industry is not prepared at all for this type of technology. And where it should start is really familiarizing yourself with what's available, even like evidence being submitted for your cases. All of these things, you should be fully aware of the ethics related to this technology and how it's ultimately going to be influencing your own practice and your clients' cases. The last thing is understanding some do's and don'ts. This kind of falls right in line with the ethics, but in ChatGPT, it's really easy to enter virtually any information. And what we're concerned about is law firms, or any business for that matter, starting to use this technology by entering personalized data, especially client data. If you're entering client data into this system, you are putting them at risk. You're also putting your business at risk. And so that's why it's important, first and foremost, to fully understand the ethics and regulations behind this technology and stay up to date with that. I will mention real quickly Mitch Jackson out of California. I believe he's a lawyer, but he's been hell-bent on educating the market around AI. He's a great follow on social media. Mitch Jackson, I would encourage you to follow him. He's keeping law firms as well as consultants up to date on some of the latest and greatest technology related to AI. So continuing with this trend, trend number 2 would be adopting AI in law. Doug talked about TikTok and the power of short form video. And you may wonder, like, why are these growing in popularity so much? Well, Doug hit on it. It's because when you start combining both voice and visual, or audio and visual, you really start to have the opportunity to resonate with an individual, with a brand. And people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And so video is an incredible way to be able to do that. What's also fascinating is that when you start to embed video content into your website, it's one of the best ways to increase engagement on your website. Engagement is important for a number of reasons. First and foremost, just being able to relate to that prospective client, increasing conversion rates. That's a huge benefit for law firms and probably enough justification to really start the video journey immediately. But beyond that, engagement implies that users are getting value from your website. That's a huge signal to the search engines, specifically Google. They see that users are interacting with it, clicking into deeper content, viewing more content, staying on your site longer than what the average users stay on your competitors' sites. And it's a huge leg up from a search ranking standpoint, and all the reason in the world to be investing time and energy into video. I mentioned that, Doug's point on the short form video is so true, and we fully agree, but I want to take a different angle here and encourage you to start looking at long form video just the same. Now, the point I'm going to make here is that long form video creates an opportunity to also pull segments of short form video from that, so that you're able to be much more efficient in video content. You take this webinar, for example. There have been a number of golden nuggets delivered that you as the attendees can take and run with. Well, of those, you may have a 20-second clip from Erin where she's talking about the omni-channel mix and really diversifying your marketing efforts to increase brand awareness and sales activation. Well, that 20-30-second clip is phenomenal for social media. And so you're able to extract from long form video content and producing the short form content that users enjoy. And clearly they're spending time online and TikTok and Instagram Reels consuming. On the other side of the coin is that we do find that users, if they're interested in the topic and it's highly relevant, they will spend time consuming that video. I always find it interesting, some of the longer form videos our clients have generated, and when I say longer form, that can be a wide range. It could be 5-6 minutes. It can also be 50 to 60 minutes, depending on the depth and the substance. But in those, when we run those longer form videos on YouTube, it's so interesting to see how many users are consuming that video 80, 90%, all the way to 100% completion of that long form content. And it's a strong indication that if you're reaching the right audience, consumers will watch that video content, and the longer they spend there with your brand, the more trust that's created. I encourage you to do this and start with your main practice areas. You want to generate credibility, which is going to be talked about in just a moment and how Google likes that. But when users are able to see that you're specialized in a very specific vertical of law and you have experience around this particular area, then that's a huge leg up to you and your own marketing. And so I would encourage you, take action on video. It just simply, you may not be prepared, you may not be comfortable. In fact, if you're not, that's perfectly normal. Start with the first one and then partner with someone who's great at video editing, great at storytelling, who can cut that up into the short form video that we've talked about as well. A few other practical ways that you can get started with long form content: encourage more client testimonial videos. It's been spoken already by Doug, the power of authenticity. And I've heard it said before that what you say about yourself is good, what others say about you is gold. Ken Hardison is the one that said that, and that's really resonated with me for a long time. I would much rather someone else tell my story than me. and users want that as well. It's more trustworthy. And so find opportunities to have clients tell their story around very specific practice areas, and ideally they're telling the whole emotion, like everything they went through from beginning to end and how you helped them overcome that particular situation in life. That's what compels. And that can be as long as they're willing to talk. Another way is to make sure you have an About Us video. We find that the second most visited web page on a law firm site, aside from the homepage, which is the #1, would be the attorney bio or the About Us page. People want to know who you are, your background, your history. And so there's an opportunity here to improve that experience when they click into your About Us or your bio to learn more about you through video. And ideally too, you also have testimonials built into that where it's someone else saying you're good and not yourself saying that. I've talked about the importance of prioritizing practice areas, but you can absolutely start with, you may have 15 plus practice areas represented on your website, but prioritize it based on revenue, based on potential. There are certain practice areas that naturally have likely higher fees or bigger opportunities for you. Start there and work down a priority list. And then lastly, the case studies, which can go kind of in line with a testimonial, but this is going to be important whenever you are establishing trust and credibility around a particular practice area vertical. If you can build out a case study around a particular client and their situation, again, obviously you want the permission of the client to do this. This is what tells the story. This is what creates relatability. It implies authenticity, and that's how you're going to get more out of the traffic you're already getting through your website and other social channels where those videos are represented. The third trend I want to emphasize here is around focusing on quality and value and not just solicitation. And that may seem obvious, but when it comes to ultimately increasing your overall brand awareness in the marketplace, your overall visibility in the search rankings, you want to continue to reinforce quality over quantity. And I want to warn you that with ChatGPT, it can often give us this disillusion that we have a shortcut here, that we can just start leveraging this technology and throw up a bunch of content on the website and really use this as a competitive advantage. Well, while it can absolutely be used as a competitive advantage, if that's all you're doing, that's all your competitors need to do as well. And at some point, it just becomes noise, and there are no true unique value propositions or differentiators represented in that content. I believe it was Aaron that mentioned the EEAT acronym: experience, expertise, authority, and trust. These are factors or signals, if you will, that Google looks at to determine how to rank a website. And today, especially, again, with this type of technology like ChatGPT, where anyone can produce content on a website, what really matters now is how users are, finding value in that content. What's different about that content? We've talked about video and how that can be an incredible ingredient to differentiate content, but look for other ways to be able to differentiate your brand from another's. While you can certainly use ChatGPT to start with ideation, don't rely on it solely. Bring in your unique personal experiences into that copy. It kind of goes back to the case study concept and the testimonials, where people want to know that you've handled this area of law and you've done it well and very successfully. And if they can see that, and they can see that through your testimonials, your case studies, your results, whether that be verdicts, settlements, or victories in court, these are things that will inevitably increase trust and result in someone feeling much more confident to pick up the phone and call you. If you're solely relying on cookie cutter content, well, you're going to be lost among all the others that are simply doing that and stopping just short of being able to personalize content in a way that compels. So as we look at this year, what we expect to see is firms who are truly looking to compete and be competitive and stay ahead of the curve. They're going to find ways to build more authenticity into their content, not just written content, but through visuals, through video, and through their own personal experiences. We're also going to see much more engagement and effort into social media, not just kind of a set it and forget it routine social strategy, but a strategy that helps to illustrate who your firm is, your culture, your uniqueness, and you're going to represent that through genuine photos and or videos. We're also expecting to see content needing to have much more credibility built in. Credibility can be sources that you're citing. A lot of times with AI content, it'll make up content. If it can't deliver what your prompt is requesting, it's simply going to make it up. And many of you have probably heard stories about lawyers actually utilizing this technology and submitting information to the court that's actually incorrect. And so it's extremely important to be putting effort, manual effort into reviewing any content that's generated through AI and making sure sources are cited appropriately. And then also credentials. We've went through, over the last few years, Google really encouraging authorship, the concept of tying an individual to subject matter content. And so this is an opportunity for you. If you're reviewing or editing content or even writing content on your website, you should absolutely be listed as the author or the editor of that content and linking back to the bio. This is great for users to have a trust in it, but it's also important for Google to see that and make the connection of your credibility online. In short, you have to prepare. More importantly, I would encourage you to be risk tolerant, knowing that we don't have all the answers into the future and how this technology is ultimately going to evolve our industries. But the more you are, stepping into this technology, testing it, the better. If you're not that type of person where this is just not a passion of yours, you really don't have a desire to learn this technology or to keep up with the technology, no problem. A good business owner is going to find someone within their business who does have that passion or has those skill sets. Find a champion within your office who can be the one to drive this technology forward for your business. And I will say that you're not always going to have all the answers, nor will ConsultWebs or any of these other groups have all the answers. But if you surround yourself with enough of the industry experts, you can absolutely stay ahead of the curve. What we've attempted to do for you here today is to prepare a legal trends for 2024 resource for law firms, where we have done the hard work for you. We've done an incredible amount of research around a wide range of AI tools and topics, and we've built it into this 40+ page resource. So I encourage you, if you have a phone on you, scan the QR code, get access to that resource. If you, for any reason, have any trouble accessing that, simply get with me. You can either go through Riley or find us on consultwebs.com, and we'd be happy to send you this resource via email. Separate to that, folks, if it would be helpful to you, feel welcome to also calendar a direct one-on-one with me, where we can explore any of these topics or other topics that you are interested in or just curious about, and we'd be able to talk through that and provide you with some practical steps forward in terms of embracing this type of technology and staying ahead of the curve. My hope is that this is useful to you. I do want to thank all of my co-speakers today, as well as Riley, for coordinating this event. We hope it's been helpful to you, and our best to you as you take advantage of this technology for your firms.
Thanks so much, Tanner. And I'm not seeing any questions in the chat currently. Give me one sec. But just to reiterate, this is this is really an incredible opportunity to ask any questions that you have. We have 4 really great presenters and experts in legal marketing here, and you can ask any question that you have about your law firm, your marketing efforts, get any specifics that you are interested or curious about. And I think we should give it another, say, 60 seconds and just kind of see if there are any questions that come in. All right. Yeah, and Tanner, thank you so much for that presentation. You kind of tied everything back together And you made a good point that it seems like everyone's presentations have really very nicely complemented each other. So I think that's worked really well. Oh, it looks like we do have a question from Rick. Do you see a role for an email newsletter? So Tanner, why don't you take that, and then if anyone else has a comment on that.
Yep. Happy to do so. I know Aaron touched on this as well, and the importance of nurturing referrals, existing clients, even prospective clients. I love the concept of an email newsletter. There are certainly some challenges with it. With CAN-SPAM, you want to make sure that everyone on your list has opted in, and that's, from my experience, one of the biggest challenges. A law firm that's been around for a number of years, they may be sitting on a couple thousand or more contacts, but none of which have opted in to email communication. So that would be one of the first things where I would start, is making sure you have a clean list being those that have agreed to receive emails. Beyond that, a great way to feed that list is to have resources on your website or ways for people to subscribe and sign up. You can push that on social media and grow your list organically that way. Separate from that, you may also consider a drip email campaign, where when prospective clients first contact you, you could have an automation set up to where it'll send them a handful of, like a series of emails, 3, 4, 7 emails that are value add, but also incorporate more social proof like testimonials and reviews into that. And that's going to help drive more connections of people who have raised their hand, but you may have a hard time getting a hold of them. But it also helps to feed the bigger list to nurture for the email newsletter. So hopefully that's helpful. The last thing I'll mention before I hand it over to anyone else would be consider incorporating text messaging as well. Users, or I say users, your clients, your prospective clients, virtually every single one of them are comfortable texting today. And it's a lot easier to access someone via text message than it would be even a phone call or an email. And so if you can incorporate also texting or SMS messaging, this is a powerful way to stay in front of people. And then the more important thing, which we've hit on the power of reviews already in this discussion, you can encourage reviews at the close of a case if you've had prior communication in place via email and text messaging. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, that's great. And does anyone else have a comment on email newsletter? Aaron, Jeff, Doug? I see we have a couple other questions as well.
Yeah, this is Doug Bradley. I would just add into that, market segmentation for newsletters is critical. So segment your lists appropriately into possible referral law firms, past clients, and potential clients. You don't want to be sending out the same marketing message, because that's a good way to get an unsubscribed list growing really quick.
Okay, great. All right, looks like we have another question. For someone who's just entering a legal, when an attorney is just starting out on their own, how do they give confidence to clients in their marketing? So I'm just going to open it up for any of our presenters to offer their answers.
Sure, I'll hop in. I think that starting with branding and a beautiful website that is educational and provides information about your services and about your firm. Also, although you may be just starting, you probably have experience. Potentially, if you're going out as a solo attorney from a big law firm, we see this often where they're coming to the table with a lot of experience, and that is something that should be highlighted on your website. And since the website and your branding are going to be the foundational elements to, accelerating your growth and expanding your marketing down the road, I do think that you can really build some confidence and trust with your clients by being very intentional about what you're putting on there and what you're creating as your first, iteration, and things will change over time, but as your first iteration of kind of launching your website, making sure that it's very polished, professional, thoughtful, it thinks about your audience, you know, that you're very specific about your practice areas, you know, not just throwing everything out there saying, oh, I can do all of this, you know, just saying, oh, I'm really good at doing estate law, or I'm really good at family law. And start with what you're really good at and highlight your experience on your website and be thoughtful about your branding.
Yeah, that sounds really good, Aaron. If I could just build a couple of points on with what you just mentioned, I think that's a great idea. For attorneys that are just starting out, or maybe they're just starting out as a solo, definitely to get not only the brand for their firm, but also their personal brand. And what I mean by that is you don't want to just say you're a lawyer. You want to say I'm Tucson's premier real estate commercial attorney, something like that, that you have something really specific. And then what you could do on your website is simply write about these types of things. Go on there and do lots of blog posts about the area of law in which you practice. You can talk about court cases. You can talk about trends in the industry, whatever it might be. But that's a good way to really establish your expertise in a particular area, rather than saying I'm a commercial real estate attorney.
That sounds great. Any other feedback for that question?
Yeah, this is Doug Bradley. Just to echo that sentiment, Jeff Lance, I believe, had in your presentation a slide that talked about kind of the website being the central place, or where people are going to end up at that source at some point. And part of the EEAT element of how Google looks at your money or your life websites is that authority and that experience. So any way you can transmit personal experiences into your either articles that you're writing or practice pages, things in your biography, your personal experience really is very, very effective way to get someone to pay attention to you and how you can go about helping them.
Okay, great. And it looks like there's another question from Al. How important are legal directories in marketing a law firm? So I'm just going to open that up to everyone.
If you don't mind, I'll jump back in here again. This is Doug Bradley. I come from a legal directory background. I think legal directories are incredibly important. I've written a lot of articles on my website about legal directory marketing. We do a study about the effectiveness of it. Some of the ones that I think are really, really effective, Justia is probably one of the best free, if you want to do any type of a free profile on Justia, it's one of the best places where the juice is worth the squeeze. It gives you SEO benefit, it gives you presence benefit, it gives you visibility, but it also serves as a foundational element to be the places where attorneys are, and also to teach Google what your website and what your brand is relevant for.
Those are really good points, and I agree with that fully. From market to market, realizing that attendees here, or maybe across the country, from one side to the other, I would also encourage you to do some searches in your marketplace for your practice areas. You know, if you're estate planning lawyer type searches, will lawyer, you know, anything like that, to find out who is showing up, specifically which directories are showing up on page one. That's what we would refer to as more like barnacle SEO, where you attach yourself to a platform that's already ranking well in the marketplace. Now, depending on the cost of those, some may be cost prohibitive, but that would at least be a way to collect a short list of possible directories. The other benefit would be from an SEO angle, being able to get links from some of these higher value domains, specifically directories. Very valuable from that standpoint. It also sends over more relevancy from a legal directory. And then the last thing I'll mention is that local maps results are very important for law firms. Obtaining local maps results have been one of the greatest ways that we've been able to increase case counts for clients. And one of the factors that goes into that would be the amount of what they call citations your business has online. A citation for your business would be anywhere you have your business name, the address of your business, and the phone number listed. Many of these directories allow you to place business name, address, and phone number along with a link to the website. And those are all tremendous signals that actually help to support your local rankings, because it indicates that you're locally entrenched in the marketplace and your business is credible. So we love directories. Obviously, it's always going to be a factor of budget or budget constraint, but hopefully those ways will give you the ability to start to prioritize which will make the biggest impact for your business.
And to piggyback off of budget or budget constraint, a lot of the directories, especially legal directories, do allow you to have a free profile. And we do always encourage that, like Justia, Avvo. And a lot of times we field questions about, should I be paying for sponsored listings on directories? And this depends on the cost in the market, specifically for the placement. And when we help clients determine if this is something that's going to be helpful, if it fits in their budget, or if that should be utilized for another marketing channel, we do like to look at the analytics provided from the platforms themselves. Some of the, or I would say one of the most popular legal directories that our clients use is Avvo. One benefit to Avvo is that people can leave reviews more anonymously on Avvo than they can on Google. So if you're in a practice area where potentially the client's case or the matter that they were facing may be embarrassing, they might have some reservation to leaving a review on Google that very clearly has their first and last name on it. With Avvo, that can be, you know, first name, last initial. So that way that person can still confidently advocate for you and your services, yet do not have to have the public exposure on Google.
I'll also, this is Doug again, I'll also chime in, Aaron, that was a great point about Avvo. I definitely have some criticisms of Avvo, but what I would say is that Google's algorithm has changed in the last 6 to 12 months to where you may have been noticing far more forums and threads in Google search results that they're pulling from threads like Reddit, Quora, and I'm seeing a lot more Avvo content being filtered up into page 1, where there's either questions that have been asked and answered by attorneys. And so some of those, you can really use their platform to benefit from that and to leverage their platform.
Okay, great. And it looks like we just have about a minute left. So if anyone has a last minute question, feel free to post that. And if not, then everyone's contact information is available in the slides. So if you have a question for any of our presenters here, please reach out to them directly. You could also just reach out to me and I can put you in contact with them. If you joined a little bit later, just know that this webinar is being or has been recorded. And so I'm going to send out a link to the recording tomorrow morning, as well as a PDF of the slides, so you'll have access to everything. And I'm not seeing any last minute questions. So with that, I want to thank all 4 of our presenters for being here. Thanks so much, Aaron, Jeff, Doug, and Tanner.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. And yeah,
Thanks,
with
Ryan.
that, I think we can close. So hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.